Hello, listeners. Welcome to yet another special series of Masters Decoded. I am Anis Merchant, the Chief Decoder. You're listening to the third part of the special series, Digital Transformation Myths. I'm humbled and overwhelmed with all the feedback from each one of you. Thank you for sharing the feedback. Continuing on the journey to decode the digital transformation myths, today I would be covering the next four myths. First, bringing in a new breed of team members. Second, there is a standard maturity framework to adopt digital transformation. Number three, machines would be able to replace individuals. And number four, the company would be new post digital transformation. Without much further ado, let me get on with it. Number one, bringing in a new breed of team members. Change is hard, and transformation means to think differently. Often, companies embarking on the journey of digital transformation would focus on setting up a completely net new organization structure along with the new team members from the outside world. In this process, neglect the current team members and individuals within the organization. The biggest mistake companies don't realize that digital transformation requires a culture to enable change. Culture needs individuals from the organization who are deep rooted and understand the nerve of the organization and can drive others to change. The biggest failure of digital transformation in an organization is that individuals leading or chartered to drive digital transformation within an organization looked upon as outsiders, only if they are from outside, and hence aren't able to drive consensus within the existing setup. Every organization has its own operating code, and such codes can be altered or transformed by individuals who are living and breathing it every day. The current team members understand the nuances and act as a significant influencer to the operating code. However, I'm not recommending that the current team can ultimately drive digital transformation. Before you embark on a digital transformation journey, you need to have an assessment of people and skills required for the critical focus areas where digital transformation would be enabled. Once completed, you can identify the gaps and then get the individuals aligned from the outside. I would also highly recommend, if there is an able and trusted leader within the organization, then allocate the responsibility of digital transformation to the leader. A great example of failure has been with one of the leading and most innovative companies in the world for a long time. The organization, which shall not be named, in 2015 created a new business with a suffix named digital. The goal was to set up and leverage data to turn the company into a technology powerhouse. In this endeavor, a global team got set up with a charter to drive digital transformation. Despite pouring billions of dollars into the company's digital and its thousands of employees, the company's stock price continued to drop and other products suffered. The digital business quickly became stuck in the pattern of having to report earnings to shareholders and was focused more on short term goals and earnings than the long term innovative goals and returns. The CEO was soon forced out. Number two, there is a standard maturity framework to adopt digital transformation. The origins of maturity models can be traced back to 1980s, where the Department of Defense developed maturity models to benchmark its vendors and its ability to deliver the software development program successfully. Mainly, it was a supply chain management technique that helped mitigate the risk of project failure from things like a vendor not having a well defined quality assurance process. Today, a simple search on Google on digital transformation maturity models yields 217 billion search results. And we've got a variety of those in our industry. We have maturity models about development practices, about leadership, about scrum teams, scrum masters, and product owners, and about skills in general. Everyone has a maturity model these days. There are inherent flaws in the system, and mainly they are: growth is a linear progression and through several discrete phases, each marked by unique characteristics. Growth looks the same across the organizations, teams, and individuals. The context may affect the path, but it does not change the phases, what characterizes them, or what order they occur. It's merely a snapshot in time. As a model, it doesn't look forward towards the future. It looks at past stages and current statuses rather than being predictive and aligning for progress. Maturity, or more specifically, higher performance, doesn't have an end state. While you work towards your initial objective, you learn, sometimes your purpose even shifts. You might discover that the path you have taken isn't productive or efficient. In either case, a maturity model does not allow for these shifts and changes. It doesn't evolve at the same pace as the changes in your market, customer, or technology. And applying a static model to dynamic variables rarely meets expectation. Maturity models are not scientific models and don't follow the scientific method. Yet the methodology and the results are often trusted as if they are. How a company moves through each stage is entirely arbitrary, as there is no best practice. Today's mature practices can quickly become tomorrow's old ones. Maturity models are notoriously packed with the filter bubble phenomenon. You will only see what you want to see and miss out on the knowledge that could be game changing for your company. And there are many more such flaws in the digital transformation maturity models which exist today. I'm not against it, but I don't recommend it too for driving digital transformation. Digital transformation is a journey, and industry, organization, customers, and employee scenarios, needs, and perspectives evolve with every day passing by. However, there is a big difference between framework and maturity models. Digital transformation can be driven by leveraging frameworks rather than maturity models. Choosing a structure or adopting one, keeping in mind the shortcomings of the maturity models. Number three, machines would be able to replace individuals. Previous industrial revolutions have undoubtedly led to the transformation of the employment landscape, such as mass shift from the agriculture work to factories during the 19th century. The number of jobs, adjusted for the rapid growth in population, has generally stayed consistent. Some managers fear that digital transformation will lessen the need for experienced workers, or the existing staff won't be able to cope up with the new processes that accompany new technology, but that doesn't have to be the case. A precision driven machine that doesn't require personal development, has no requirement of advantage, is undoubtedly an eye catching alternative for organization. Well, it's not as simple as it appears to be. In reality, businesses are better off when they introduce new digital technology that supports and suits the existing skills of the workforce. Technology can be used to automate specific processes, freeing up more time for employees to focus time on the strategic work. And despite what doom mongers have said, there is a very little actual evidence to suggest that mass unemployment or widespread redundancy of workforces is likely. It is just as possible that a more productive economy, brought about by the increased efficiency and reduction of waste that automation promises, will give us more options for spending our time on productive, income generating pursuits. Creative planning, for example, can't be done with the technology. Some jobs may evolve, but technology is meant to amplify human capabilities, not replace them. Number four, the company would be new post digital transformation. Digital transformation doesn't mean you have to become an online company. Digital transformation means leveraging technologies, not just for efficiency and effectiveness, but to transform the business and enable new business opportunities. It is not fundamentally changing the business you are in. OC Tanner, a company, is a case in point. The 90-year-old company started out manufacturing class rings, then expanded to manufacturing and distributing employee awards for milestone anniversaries and other notable achievements. Today, in addition to those physical items, the company provides multiple software products to help companies manage their recognition programs, engage with employees, and recruit and retain workers. Despite its heavy focus on delivering software, OC Tanner still provides the employee recognition services and products which built its reputation. Now, it's leveraging technology to develop new lines of revenue better. Real digital transformation isn't necessarily about becoming an entirely different company, but preferably using technology to improve and expand the company's core strengths. It is an offensive play to create competitive advantage and defensive play that will keep you from being obsolete. This is not to say that disruption doesn't occur. Make no mistake, things are changing quickly, and companies that do nothing will either be disrupted or, at a minimum, outcompeted by those that transform using digital tools. But even in the classic industries where disruption strikes hardest, the story is always a little more complicated when you look below the surface. Whether you're disrupted or not always depends upon the job you do for your customers. If an incumbent can use digital tools to meet customers' needs better than a disruptive new entrant can, it will still prosper. Understanding that digital transformation does not change the reason your business exists will help you identify the technologies you should focus on. Managers who believe that digital transformation requires wholesale reinvention of the core business end up running in a thousand directions. But if the challenge is to address their customers' jobs better to be done, they will most likely focus on the technologies that have the most significant effect on their customers, such as customer experience or relationship synergies, or their core capabilities, such as cost synergies. I hope I have been able to help you demystify and break the myths for these four areas. Next week, I would be decoding the next four myths for all of you. Thank you for listening in, and we close yet another episode of Masters Decoded. If you've enjoyed the episode, please you can help us out by sharing it on social media. I would personally appreciate that. It's how we can reach more listeners, and the more listeners we have, the more awesome guests I can get in touch and convince to participate in these conversations that are a joy to have for me, and I hope they are a joy for you to listen as well. You can also help a lot leaving reviews on iTunes or your podcast service of choice. Reviews are surprisingly helpful in supporting the podcast to get to more listeners. If this episode has intrigued you, I would request you to subscribe to the podcast to stay up to date and get notified to the future episodes. With that, I bid you and see you in the next episode.